So let's look at function notation. So standard notation, which you're probably used to, is when you have something like y equals 2x minus 3. Now in function notation, it would be written something like this. F of x equals 2x minus 3. So I want you to notice that the function notation, what it does is it replaces the y with f of x. So y is f of x, or f of x is our y value. So what does f of x mean? F is just the name of the function. It could be g of x, it could be h of x. It's just a name. More common, we use the f of. X is our input. It's our input value. F of x is our output. Again, it's just our y value. What f of x doesn't mean. F, first of all, so looking at this in function notation here, f is not a variable. And so when we see that, we're not multiplying. So do not multiply f and x. So let's evaluate a function using function notation. Evaluate f of x equals negative 4x plus 7 when x equals 2. So it's telling us plug in 2 wherever we see the x. Now I'm going to write f of, we said x is 2. F of 2. So I just plug this 2 in wherever I see the x. I'm going to do the same thing here. F of 2 equals negative 4 times our x value we said was 2. That was a given. Plus 7. Now just on this left side, this is just our directions. What did we plug in? You don't do anything with it. It's just saying we plug in 2 into the function. And then so what is going to be our y value? So let's simplify. So negative 4 times 2, that is negative 8 plus 7. And so negative 8 plus 7 is negative 1. So when we plug in 2 into the function, our x value is 2. We get a y value of negative 1. So we could write this as an ordered pair. So 2 is our x value and negative 1 is our y value. Okay, so that's all we're trying to find. It's just a different way of plugging things in. So let's get some practice. Let's evaluate g of x, which is negative x minus 1 when x equals negative 4, 0, and 3. So all this means is you're going to take this and plug it in 1, 2, 3 times. So we're going to plug in this negative 4 into here. So it's helpful because it tells us what are we plugging in. So g of, I'm going to make it pink again, negative 4, I'm just writing it here, equals negative, and the x value is negative 4 minus 1. So again, all I did was I plugged in this negative 4 into wherever I see the x. This g of negative 4, that's just our directions. You don't have to do anything with it. So now we get negative 4, that's a positive 4 minus 1. So we find that g of negative 4 is a positive 3. So then we do it again. G of 0, and we're going to plug it into the equation. Negative 0 minus 1. So that is negative 0 minus 1. Well, that's just 0. So it's negative 1. So g of 0 is negative 1. Now let's plug in 3. G of 3 equals negative positive 3 minus 1. So negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Now we're supposed to list it. So these are our x values. So this is our domain, if you remember domain and range. This is our x values. Domain is x. Range is y. Now another thing you need to remember about listing your range is number 1, you don't list duplicates. And number 2, you list them in order from least to greatest. So let's list them. So looking at our y values here, we have 3, negative 1, and negative 4. That means we write negative 4 here, then negative 1, and then a positive 3. So try this next example on your own. Try number 2. Pause the video. So let's plug it in together. So f, we're going to plug in negative 2 first. So f of negative 2 equals 3 times negative 2 plus 2. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 2. So therefore, when we plug in negative 2, we get a negative 4. Now let's plug in f of 0 now. So we plug in 0, we get 3 times 0 plus 2. So this goes away. So f of 0 is 2. The last one, f of 2 equals 3 times 2 plus 2. So this is still f of 2. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2. So the answer is 8. So now we list it. In this case, it is in order for us. So negative 4, 2, and 8.